Welcome back, everybody. I'd like to thank again Deepak from TCS. Moving right along, we have a couple of great speakers today. I'd like to welcome Marco Villanello and Alessia Culo from Reply. Now, Marco and Alessia have been colleagues of mine for years. So, Marco, Alessia, welcome. We'll turn it over to you guys.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. So, hi, everybody. I'm Marco Villanello. I'm lead of operation for Light Reply. In the last 15 years, I've been working as a system integrator for CRM and no-code solutions, covering pretty much all the roles from developers to business analyst and project manager. In the last several years, my focus has been on manufacturing and automotive customers, and I'm here with Alessia, that is my partner in crime in this presentation.
Good morning, Al. I'm Alessia Kulov. I'm a lead business analyst for Light Reply. I've been with the group for about 7 years now, and my focus is CRM and no-code platforms with the focus on process automation, process improvement for customers in the automotive and manufacturing industries.
So without further ado, we are going to deep dive into our agenda. We will give a glance to the supply chain challenges, the features of a no-code platform, what no-code can do for supply chain, and how Creatio and Reply can help you with that. Supply chain is critical for every business, and it drives customer satisfaction by ensuring timely delivery of end products. We all love happy customers, as a happy customer is eventually a returning customer, right? Well, although supply chain is common to every business, it is also specific to each of them. As such, there is no one-fits-all tool that can support supply chain processes. The images here are representing supply chain for a traditional retail store versus e-commerce, showing already some differences. Moreover, supply chain has to constantly adapt to external events. Typical scenarios are material shortage, drops on demand, worker availability. That is not just a manufacturing issue, by the way. Don't let me start on how hard it is to hire a developer nowadays. What else? We have new laws and regulation, for example, to adjust to new mandates. You might need to requalify your suppliers or monitor your own plants, and you might want to set up a process to accomplish that consistently. Or even more uncommon events. We just lived and we're still living in first person the impact of a pandemic and geopolitical changes. Technology cannot fix it all, but at least it is our ally with supply chain related issues. I'm assuming that everybody here is familiar with Industry 4.0, or at least got familiar with the earlier sessions of this event. Like any other industrial revolution, it's marked by the introduction of a bunch of new technologies in supply chain, similar to what happened back in the days with the introduction of water and steam first, electricity and automation later, and then with electronics and computers. Supply chain can now leverage on new technologies that are game changers. Which are these technologies? Well, just to mention some: industrial Internet of Things, cloud computing, big data analytics, augmented reality, 3D printing, blockchain. They all contribute to the capability to gather an amount of data never seen before, and through digital acquisition, convert the data into usable information. In this way, a company can not only react to changes promptly, but even be proactive about those changes. One of time data to make informed decisions quickly. For the first time, we are seeing the same people having the authority to make decisions, needing to have direct access to the information in order to cut any waste of time in the decision-making process. Ultimately, the key to everything is connectivity. If you attended other Creatio event where Reply was speaking, you might have seen how in the past we used Creatio to implement a control tower for the parts quality in a network of warehouses. When an issue was detected in one of the warehouses, an alert was sent to the central quality team that, based on the amount of parts impacted, the type of issue, the demand, the back order, etc., was deciding the disposition, how to disposition those parts, and if the issues had to be broadcasted to all other warehouses. Were the parts usable, even if defective, as the issue was cosmetic? Was it worth to fix those parts and use them anyway? Return them to suppliers, trash them? The central quality team had all the information they needed and when they needed to make the best decision. Depending on the technology maturity of a company, the supply chain can provide a different level of support. Just plain visibility on data. They can send alerts, support decisions, and even make decisions autonomously, leveraging on data science and artificial intelligence. Now, digital acquisition surfaces a big challenge: scale. The skill gap implies a meaningful dependence on IT department and development resources. Heavy reliance on system integrator or integrators, plural, depending on the case, and extended project timelines with a consequent long time to market. To avoid bottlenecks and align to the idea of having more direct control on their own business, employees need to upskill to fill the gap on the new technologies. Alessia will show in a minute how no-code is helping to minimize this gap. But let's start visualizing a comparison between no-code, traditional coding, and commercial off-the-shelf solution in this spider chart. Among the 6 dimensions taken into account, you can see how no-code solution in yellow is the most balanced. In more detail, if you look at the time to market, commercial off-the-shelf is the fastest approach, but the price for that is full flexibility. On the other hand, traditional coding has a long time to market, but it allows the maximum flexibility. The no-code approach gets the best of both worlds. As far as license cost goes, it is almost absent for traditional coding. And it's clearly a pain point for the commercial off-the-shelf. No-code is a nice in-between, a nice trade-off, and probably in the case of Creatio is more close to the traditional coding approach rather than the commercial off-the-shelf. As far as the performance and intellectual property, the discrepancy between the approaches is not that meaningful, but what should grab your attention is that citizen developer at the bottom left of the chart. No-code introduces the concept of citizen developer. A citizen developer is a business user who is administrator of the application and is empowered to make the changes necessary to adapt the system to any coming variation of the business model and business processes. The real benefit of the adoption of a no-code platform is even more evident when the platform is used to implement multiple applications and support different processes. At the beginning, there is an initial license cost, and most of the components peculiar to the business have to be created from scratch. As more applications are built, license cost is already covered from the initial implementation, with maybe a little gap in case new functionalities are bringing in more users, or you need to use more components. Reusable components instead that are core to the business, like data model changes, etc., are already in place after the first implementation, and they can be reused for the new processes. The cost of reusable components drops significantly around the 4th and 5th application. With time, even dedicated component cost is decreasing as citizen developers are getting more skilled and familiar with the platform and more effective in the implementation. As a matter of fact, there are multiple statistics confirming the effectiveness of no-code platform. To give you some numbers, 72% of no-code developers can create application in half of the time than traditional methods. 60% of custom applications are built today in North America, leveraging of no-code solution without the involvement of IT department. 29% of a very recent survey indicated that low-code development is 40–60% faster than traditional. So now I let Alessia go through some typical scenarios where no-code can help supply chain.
Thank you, Marco. So we just saw how no-code platforms can help you by reducing the time to market for your solution. But what can we actually do with no-code solutions? We can support you in collecting data from different sources and therefore break the barrier between the different departments and the information silos by providing a common layer on top of your existing system to surface and provide useful information to all the stakeholders involved. And this ties greatly with the concept of the control tower previously introduced. So no-code platforms can fit in as a control tower layer in your existing system landscape. What can they actually do? Some examples are, for example, helping with document collection, providing a common entry points for shipping document like ASN and bill of lading, especially if your suppliers or supply chain partners do work with EDI and you can integrate their system directly into yours. By collecting all the shipping documents and all the documents you require, you can then define a chain of events to maybe automate the communication for the customer and notify accounting, for example, on submitting bills of lading, starting payments, and so on and so forth. You can automate after sales and case management by collecting the requests from the customers from different entry points in one single platform, categorize them and route them to the correct team for the request to be taken care of. For example, in case of an order inquiry, if you do have an integration with your transport management system or with your warehouse, you can track all the orders real time and send acknowledgement emails to the customer automatically. And we all know that all the customers are always just waiting for that product to be delivered. I'm maniac about checking my Amazon delivery, for example. Or as Marco was presenting before, we can also integrate with a WMS system, with a warehouse management system. And when a defect or a faulty part is detected, broadcast that information across the company, across the different warehouse, and start a recall process to ensure that no faulty parts are delivered to a customer. But it's not only after sales, it's not only back office, it's also order management and tying it, for example, with a CRM. And by tying it with a CRM, you can monitor all the orders and see where the order lays and check each handover points and each handover details across the relevant partners and the relevant systems. Intelligent routing can also be applied to orders. So when a customer places an order on your website or through your sales representative, and you trigger an order creation, this order can automatically be routed to the correct logistic partner, to the correct warehouse, based on type of delivery, based on location of the customer, and for example, also based on the closest warehouse to minimize shipping times. You can generate automatic notification to your customer in case there is a delay, and provide real-time order updates. This all ties into providing a better customer experience. You could also tie it more to the purchase area and automate purchase order generation once, for example, your inventory level goes below a specific threshold. A purchase order can be automatically generated based on a template and sent directly to your vendor with a notification email. So in this case, your purchase manager has all the information and would only need to monitor the purchase order creation and jump in case his approval is required, because maybe it's a really big order. When it comes to vendor management, it's not only automatic purchase order generation, but no-code platforms can also support you in your vendor selection. For example, it can benefit from automating and routing the review of documents used in vendor selection, including proposal, pricing, and all the vendor questionnaire, and trigger automated approvals if required. When it comes to vendors, we all know how important it is to do an accurate selection and an accurate background check. So with a no-code platform, you would have all the documents that you would require in the same place. And if one of those documents is, for example, missing, you can trigger a reminder and an automatic notification. And this can increase the accuracy and timeliness of the selection process. These are just some examples of what you can do with a no-code platforms. Of course, automation can be extended throughout the organization. But we always say that no-code development or no-code customization is really simple and doesn't require specific IT skills or doesn't require the IT department to be introduced. This is because through a really simple UI and drag and drop tools, users are enabled to create their own data model or modify and adapt the out-of-the-box entities that are provided in case you want to start collecting new information on your order or new information on your customer. While you're creating the data model, you can also visualize how the information will be displayed for the end user. And we all know how important is user experience when it comes down to system adoption. So if someone that is close to the business or is actually using the system can create those pages, it will reduce the back and forth and the discussion between the users and the IT department just to define how that page would look like for the user to be comfortable with using it. When it comes to process automation, no-code development, and especially the Creatio platform, leverages on BPM 2.0 notation, which is a very simple and widespread notation to draw and to design processes. But leveraging on this very simple notation, whose knowledge is spread not only among IT professionals, but also among business users. You can draw your process, you can visualize it, and then at the end of the day, by providing data and feeding the correct information into the process, you can automate it. Seeing how simple no-code customization are, no-code solution allow you and gives you the choice between 3 different delivery models. One is the all in-house, so you can customize and develop the platform on your own by creating this new role of the citizen developers. You would need to select some of your users or all of your users, this is up to you, and train them into the usage of the platform, not only from an end user perspective, but with admin capabilities so that they can identify, create the data model, and automate their processes. You could go and take the more traditional approach, so outsourcing the delivery of the project to a system integrator by providing just a set of business requirements, and then delivery implementation would be up to the system integrator. But no code actually allows you to have a third choice, the hybrid model that ties and brings together the best of both worlds. You could have and leverage on the system integrator to do the first heavy lifting in delivering a first phase of your project, a first MVP, where you can gather knowledge from the system integrator, you could get coaching, and you can train your own resources, your own citizen developer throughout the delivery of the first phase, right on the job. Once the first phase or the MVP is delivered, you are now enabled to maintain and customize further your application and your system in case you need to develop or deploy other use cases.
Okay, thank you, Alessia. Now let's see how Libreply and Creatio partnership can help your company. So who is Reply? Reply is a company that is quoted in the market, in the stock exchange with a market capitalization of 7 billion euros. Last year, we closed at 1.5 billion euros in revenue, and we have more than 10,000 employees specialized in digital platforms, connected products, and digital experience spread all around the world. In the United States, Reply opened in 2012, And it grew organically and through acquisition since then for the past 10 plus years. The network has now 9 companies in the United States, including Reply that we are here representing, and is focused on no-code platform. Reply Network grants to have access to the best team, no matter the skill requested to your project. It goes both horizontally on the technology and vertically on the industry. For example, Reply, specializing in no-code, can leverage on the finance experts in machine learning and artificial intelligence if needed. Reply has even their own proprietary warehouse management system and supply chain management system. We said that Right Reply is focused on no-code platforms. In fact, our tagline is thought done. Let's see how we differentiate from others. The keyword in this slide is advisory. Whenever there is the need, whatever is the reason, we give the best practice and recommendation explaining pros and cons of every choice and making you the ultimate informed decision maker of your own system. You can provide, we can provide highly integrated solutions beyond no code, whereas any other technology has to be integrated to your solution. Internet of Things, security, cloud, AI. We coach on project methodologies and we go hand in hand with the adoption of the solution, as we know how tough change management can be. We do not abandon the customer after the go live. We provide post-go live support and we advise on the next steps and roadmap. It should be clear by now that Light Reply values a lot open communication. That is one of the pillars shared with Creatio. Another one is the genuine care. We do care about delivering to our customer a system that makes their lives better. And is the most important value we all share between Light Reply and Creatio. This is the last slide I had. So if we have time for Q&A, I don't know if we went over time.
No, we're fine. And there was a lot of great questions. We got a lot of great questions answered in the chat today. Marco and Alessia and the team from Light Reply and Reply as a whole, thank you for being here today. We greatly appreciate it, but so much to pack into this jam-packed session today.